I predict black people are going to end up in jail by the millions due to Obamacare. Thank you for watching the Shakaama live show with your host, Shakaama, produced by Balance Enterprise LLC in association with www.lasvegasnevadadui.com. Okay, so let's get right down to it. We're talking about Obamacare, and there's some back and forth, and people calling each other liars in the news, in the media, on Capitol Hill. But I believe I have the last word, and you better believe me before you believe these other people who are trying to get your vote or whatever they're trying to do. 2010. Among the many conservatives celebrating U.S. District Judge Henry E. Hudson's healthcare reform smackdown this week, perhaps no one was more joyous than Virginia Delegate Barb Marshall, Republican, Prince William County. Marshall instructed the state legislation that opened the door for the ruling. Early this year, Marshall was the patron of HB 10, the Virginia Healthcare Freedom Act, exempting state residents from the federal law. That bill set up Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli's challenge to healthcare reform. On the day of Hudson's ruling, which found the provision requiring nearly every American to purchase insurance or face penalty unconstitutional, Marshall unleashed a fresh attack on the healthcare law. Quote, "The federal law compels American citizens to contract for health insurance they do not want, do not need, or find morally objectionable." Marshall wrote in a new release, quote, "Perhaps persons who decline to buy the coverage face fines and imprisonment." According to PolitiFacts, the House had jail time in their version of the bill. The Senate took it out. According to PolitiFacts, it is untrue, and there is not a final fine in the bill, right? Or jail time in the bill. 2009, Pelosi is asked, is it true that people will face jail time if they do not buy into the Obamacare? Pelosi, jail time very fair for failing to buy your patriotic Obamacare coverage. Mr. Stone of the Press, do you think it's fair to send people to jail who don't buy health insurance? Pelosi, the legislation is very fair in this respect. He asked her several times, and that is what she said. 2009, Charlie Rangel said, as chairman of the committee, 5 years in jail, $250,000 in fines. Now, as of the writing of the actual Obamacare, it says that there will not be jail time. That's what it says. However, this is how they're going to get around it. And black people, listen to me. This is how they're going to get around it. And it is not a question of being able to afford it or not. It is your civic duty not to buy into the system. You are born an American citizen. Just by being born, you are not to be forced to buy something. That is unconstitutional on its face. There is no governmental authority whatsoever in anybody's books to force you to buy something. That is called an unapportioned tax. Regardless of what the Supreme Court says, that is an unapportioned tax, which is unconstitutional. Virginia has deemed it unconstitutional. Texas is gearing up to declare it unconstitutional, and several other states are gearing up to declare it unconstitutional, and nobody in their states will be forced to pay it. Here's the bottom line. If you don't buy the insurance, you get a fine. Correct? Everybody agrees that's what it says. If you don't pay the fine, it goes to the IRS. Everybody agrees on that? Correct. The bill says on its face, you do not suffer jail time nor are under threat of jail time if you do not buy into the insurance. That is all it says. Once the unpaid fine goes to the IRS, it is now a debt owed to the U.S. government via the IRS. You will do jail time. Anybody who tells you different is lying. Thank you for watching the Shakaama Live Show.